A lot of interest in these two teams, surprisingly. I'm talking about Chicago at New Orleans, and I'm finally leaning towards a play on a point spread. I know, rare occurrence for me lately. But anyway, New Orleans opened up 7.5 with the total at 48.5. Since the betting opened up, everybody's loving the Saints to cover. Right now, New Orleans is laying 9.5 against the spread with the total moving downward to an even 48. And at the moment, the Saints are the 4-1 favorites to win this one straight up. Now, if you're betting sides in this one, keep in mind that the Saints team has not faced a spread anywhere near this high all year round. Their covers came over the struggling Panthers, questionable Dolphins, suspect Lions, and banged up Packers. How's that for adjectives? All right, New Orleans is also just 1-1 against the spread as the official home team. Meanwhile, on the other side, if you're leaning toward Chicago, I'm going to make the case for you here. This Bears team has been an excellent covering team all year round. Against a number, Chicago's an impressive 5-2 overall and 5-2 catching points. That's 71% in both categories for you math nerds. Even more impressive, Chicago's covered 75% of their games versus teams over 500. That means they're 3-1 covering against really good teams. Most recently, Chicago's garnered themselves some marquee covers over the likes of Minnesota, Baltimore, and Carolina. And on a side note, Chicago's actually won their last two outright. With all that info in mind, the trends certainly seem to favor Bears bettors in this one. But before I make my official pick, let's go ahead and break down the total. Once again, this one opened up at 48.5, now 48. Chicago games are 2-1 to the overs in their previous three before last week's action. Their defense gave up a rotund 26 points per game in those contests. Meanwhile, similar story on the New Orleans side, as they've gone 2-1 to the overs before last week's action themselves. They're also averaging a massive 33 points of scoring per contest in their last four games. Having said all that, though, the total seems a bit high. I mean, I know the Saints are certainly capable of putting it over themselves, but the Chicago team is scoring just 16 points per game on the road. That includes games with and without Trubisky. Plus, the betting public is leaning toward the under. This is all just too much for an amateur to process. Therefore, I'm going to forego a play on the total in this one. I am, however, in full disagreement with the betting public when it comes to the number. All told, I'm buying the hook and taking Chicago plus 10, with the Saints winning this one outright for some absurdly expensive money line cash. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert. I'm just an enthusiast. I really like sports numbers, and I'm a failed sports broadcaster. So this is my outlet, and now you have to suffer through it. But anyway, I'm not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.